All right, welcome back here to Classic Blues and R&B. As we roll along here, we have on the phone with us our live line guest is Mr. Ernie Isley of the Isley Brothers. He's part of that royal family of music. That's what I had
Yeah, look, what's up, Chicago?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, glad to have you in Chicago by radio. If
yeah.
nothing else, you ever get to town, please stop by.
Oh, yes.
You got an open invitation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you got one to do that. Yeah. And I noticed you guys had a relationship, or he had a relationship with you all, Jimi Hendrix. Tell us about that.
Oh, I can give you the microwave version for the
Okay.
sake of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, first of all, he was hired by my older brothers. And he came to live in our home in March of 1963. And they bought him his first white Strat. That was the guitar that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because he played so well. When they hired him, there was a guitar player that they had that quit in a huff, and they had some gigs coming up, and they needed to find somebody to replace him. And they asking around, do y'all know anybody that plays guitar? And the band was saying, like, yeah. Is he better than the guy with Sam Cooke? Yeah. Better than the guy with Ray Charles? Yeah. Better than the guy with Wilson Pickens? Like, yeah. It's better than the guy we saw 6 months ago in North Carolina at 3 in the morning? Yeah, better than him. And his name is Jimi Hendrix, and they tracked him down in Greenwich Village, and he said, "You want to play with the Isley Brothers?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, all day and night. So play something for me," and he couldn't because his guitar was in the pawn shop. He got it out the pawn shop and got him some strings, and he tuned up and started playing. It's like, yeah, man, you have the job. If we got rehearsals, like in a couple of days in New Jersey, and you can meet the other brothers and get up to speed with the band. It's like I can't make rehearsals in New Jersey because I don't have a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it's like, all right, you gather everything in this your worldly goods, and you can stay in a spare bedroom we have in my mother's home. And, the guitar you got's kind of scruffy looking. We got to get you a new axe if you're going to be with us. What kind do you want? He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, no. What kind do you want? So can I have a white Strat? I said, okay. I said, oh, my God. So they took him to Manny's Music in New York, got him his Strat. And, he came through the front door. Modest is a guitar player that we just hired in March of 1963. The guitar player we just hired, and he's going to be here, for a little bit. And this is my mother. Hello, Ms. Isley, and my two little brothers, Marvin and Ernie. Hi, hi. And he was there for approximately 2 years. He left I didn't see him anymore around November of 1965. And I asked Kelly, where's Jimmy? I said, oh, Jimmy had some, we had a conversation with him, and he wanted to do some other things. And so we parted on, friendly terms, and he just asked one favor. And I said, what was that? He said, well, he wanted to keep the white Strat. So we let him have it as a parting gift, and about a couple of years ago, that guitar was sold at auction in London for about, I don't know, maybe $600,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Hendrix Isley Stratocaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's quite a story,
Yeah. And, he just, in March of 1963, he was not a guitar icon. He just played very well.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, of course, he demonstrated how well he could play by the records that he recorded. But he did have his first professional recording session with my brothers on a song called Testify. That was his first time in the studio. And we had a show, fast forward to early summer of 1969 at Yankee Stadium in New York. And my brothers asked him if he would be on the show. And he said, man, I'd love to, but let me speak to my people when I get back to you. And, a few days went by, and when he got back, he said, man, I can't. I'd love to do it, but, I can't do it because I got this commitment for something called the Woodstock Arts and Music Festival in August. And the promoters don't want me to play with you guys at Yankee Stadium because, it might hurt the ticket sales up there. You're right. Well, about 500,000, literally 500,000 people out there in the middle of a farm field with him, playing, amongst other things, the Star Spangled Banner performance for the ages. And, so that's kind of like, the connection. When the Beatles did Ed Sullivan the first time, he's in our living room on the couch, and I'm on one side of Jimi Hendrix, and Marvin's on the other side. Ed Sullivan said, ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles. But there was not a clap of thunder, in our house at the time. And not too long after that, my brothers went to England and ran into John, Paul, George, and Ringo in an elevator over there. And they got to talking about Twist and Shout and how much they liked it. This was before the Beatles came out with their version. Isley did it first. And they said, where you guys live? I said, New Jersey. He said, well, look, the next time we come back to New York, we'd like to come by your house. And I think that would have been a bit much if they had, because at that time, under the same roof would have been Isley Brothers, the Beatles, and Jimi Hendrix. And they would have heard him play. It wasn't time for Jimmy yet. And the Beatles had to go on and do what they did and grow. But when it was time, by grace and stars and the planets lining up, Jimmy came on the scene, and of course wound up being what I call the high priest of electric guitar. Plays great. And always will play great.
And you're a guitar player, right?
I started with drums.
Yeah.
Then I went to bass. And then about 2 months before the It's Your Thing session, like September of 68, I was 16, I got my first guitar and started learning how to play. Of course, if Jimmy had been around when Who's That Lady came out, he would have probably given me something between a bear hug and a tackle. Man, how the hell did you learn how to play like that? I said, listening to you in the living room. So he would. I knew it would have put a great big grin on his face for that to happen, along with Marvin playing the bass, because we were not musicians when he was in our home. We were kids. I was 11 years old, and Marvin was a year younger than me. And there's a lot of music in the house, and of course, part of that was him. Virtually on a daily basis. Particularly while he was there, you'd hear a guitar, and it was him playing it. So, you never know who you're rubbing elbows with, and God moves in mysterious ways.
He does. There's no question about it. Have you, Chris Jasper? Now, when did he come on the scene with you guys?
Around the time of, let's see, we were doing. If you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. And I'm taking care of business. Woman, can't you see? Oh, I got work to do. So he was there on keyboards for that piano, and that was like 71, 72. And the Jasper family lived in Cincinnati. They lived maybe less than 5 minutes from where we were, a walking distance in the same, neighborhood. And, Chris is a couple of months older than me. So it was only natural that between Rudolph and Elaine being married that, Chris would be around. And he was. And we had a little trio when I was in junior high school and high school. Chris was on the piano and Marvin was on bass and I was on drums. That we'd play, Valentine's Day dance or something in school or some other things as we were growing up.
And that's how the CRISPR, Isley, Jasper Isley got together and started singing Voyage to Atlantis and stuff like that, huh?
Well, we got, when we did a separate record, one of the records we did was Caravan of Love.
Right.
And that was, in the midst of anything the Isley Brothers were doing. And, like I say, I'm always going to have the same last name.
Yeah.
So, and I've always felt like where the weight is, where the foundation is in the last name.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first name.
True.
And so, certainly my father and my mother, my father would be like, y'all are brothers, Isley Brothers. And so he wouldn't care, who ran the touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is it Isley? Great. So Ernie wrote the song? Wonderful. He wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. But as we, grew, we wanted to do some things on our own, and the three of us, Chris, Marvin, and myself. So eventually we wound up doing, one of the things we wound up doing was Caravan of Love. But it was still a thrill and certainly a privilege doing it as a family, as Isley Brothers, and, these 6 guys on the album cover. It was really cool. It was nothing like being in a hotel suite and somebody come in and the 6 of us turn around and look at them and they'd be like, "Oh, I might be able to trick this one, but I can't get past that one." So it might come to Marvin or Kelly first. But it was great, and it always will be. It's a wonderful experience. And just this past January, we received a Lifetime Grammy Achievement Award along with a bunch of people, Chris Christopherson, the Beatles. I had a chance to meet Yoko and Olivia Harrison, George's wife, and Ringo, and we had already met Paul McCartney, and they were very gracious and big fans of, obviously, of the Isley Brothers. So it was wonderful, all the way around. It's been a great ride.
Okay, I think what we'll do now, we're going to take another listen to some more of the Isley Brothers music. And I think this time we'll do something called Twisting Shout. You got a problem with that? Do you want to hear something else?
Why don't you play Who's That Lady?
All right, Who's That Lady? That's a good one. I have no problem with that. The only thing I was looking for was, okay, I was trying to carry it through. I didn't know you want to go chronologically or what. Who's That Lady?
Well, you could, but I mean, like there's so much, because of the longevity.
I know.
It's a great catalog. It's like, just pick one.
Okay. Who's That Lady? That's what it would be.
1973.
All right. You're listening to Classic Blues and R&B here on AM 1690. Another Saturday night here with Classic Blues and R&B here. So Henry Cheatham here, and our live line guest is one of the royal families of music, Ernie Isley. Coming up here next is Who's That Lady here on AM 1690 WVON.